So we're going to go over the 5 loosening exercises today, just the nuts and bolts of those. So some people are following the classes, the video classes that I'm doing, and they haven't actually trained that long, or even trained with me at all. So I thought a nuts and bolts version of the loosening exercises would be useful. And you can repeat that time and time again if you're not so familiar with it. So this isn't really aimed at the long trained people who've trained for many years, who know what they're doing. This is how to get started. These loosening exercises were designed by Master Huang Senxiang. And so if you look that up online, Master Huang Senxiang, there's various spellings. Depending on whether it's the Giles Wade or the Pinyin translation methods and whatever but you'll find it, and or you have a look at my website, see how it's spelled, and have a look around YouTube for the internet for Master Huang. He designed these 5 loosening exercises, and they underpin the training that we do. So we'll begin with the first of them. Or just to say, did I say we're going to take about 30 minutes for this? 20 minutes on the loosenings, and then 10 minutes a basic introduction to the meditation. So we begin with the feet together. Put the feet together, and then spin on the heels of the feet and then the balls of the feet. This should give you a 2 handspan position between the center line of the feet, and you want the outside edges of the feet parallel and forward. And so that places the joints of the ankles under the knees, under the hips, under the shoulders, more or less. So having established that base, we'll begin with the first of the loosening exercises. So press out of the feet, let the whole body begin to lift, let the arms lift to shoulder height, and take the mind to the left foot as you turn to the right and falling to the left foot. Pull up to the crown of the head. Take the mind to the right foot, falling to the right as you turn to the left. So smooth wave of lifting and falling. So the arms should lift to shoulder height and fall away. The waist turns, so you just keep going. Once you've started, keep going. But the waist should turn smoothly from side to side. So we've got this very smooth turning of the waist, a lifting out of one leg, sinking into the other leg. So we've got a turning, a shifting from side to side. So here the sacrum's over the heel. And of course, that very slight lifting and falling, shifting from side to side, and a big twisting through the body. So 3 waves, lifting and falling, longitudinal wave. Shifting from side to side with transverse wave. And then the big twisting through the body is a torsional wave. So the main thing is to get things very smooth and no stops or starts. Of course, the center stops as it arrives on the ground, and the pressures in the twisted leg stop the turning of the waist. And then the lifting and flowing down and into the opposite side. So this is the only time that the center really stops. It comes to a stop and then begins to start again. So smooth, very smooth wave of lifting and falling. Actually, in the falling, we will have to be careful that the knee doesn't turn in. So the knee wants to turn in because of the turning of the waist. You have to make a clear intention to keep the knee open. You keep the center line of the knee over the center line of the toes. So that because the joints are not meant to work like this, so you keep the knee open as you flow down and into the leg. Smooth wave of lifting and falling. Arms to shoulder height and let them fall away. Arms to shoulder height and let them fall away. So it's amazing how that builds an accuracy in terms of intention and response in the body. That's what we're doing here. Also, as we flow to the leg, you want the lower back to be opening. So we say the lower back is opening. This is the sacrum dropping down and under. So the sacrum drops down and under every time I flow into the leg. So this is, we say, opening the lower back, and that has a an effect that ripples right the way up through the spine. So the whole of the spine should change shape. And for the longer trained people, that they'll cause the shoulder blades to flow down at the last moments, and that will change the shape of the thoracic region, the upper part of the spine. But in the beginning, we want to concentrate on the lower back opening. So there's already quite a bit to think about. Not turning the knee in, so we want the knee to keep open over the center line of the toe. Making sure that the sacrum's dropping down and under, so the lower back is opening, and making sure that the arms are lifting to shoulder height. And if all of that's reasonable, then we really want to let the arms go. Just let them fall away. So this is the light contraction that picks them up, and the strong, you could say, releasing of that contraction that lets them fall. So we pick them up and let them fall. Pick them up and let them fall. So there's probably enough detail in that, really, other than you can really begin to sense into the foot that you're flowing into, and then begin to pull the mind up to the crown of the head, and then down to the opposite foot. So mind from the foot to the head, from the head to the foot. Foot to the head, down to the foot. Like pulling a line of light right the way through the body. So the mind is being pulled up in the wave of lifting, and mind is down in the wave of falling. So you pull up for the lifting, mind down for the falling. And you can add in the in-breaths and out-breaths, of course. A really good in-breath and a long, slow out-breath. Good in-breath, long, slow out-breath. It's better not to over-labour the breathing, actually. If you find you just moving naturally on, just breathe naturally. The breathing will come. So, pull the mind up to the crown of the head, down to the opposite foot. Down to the opposite foot, release the ankle, bend the knee, open the lower back. Release the ankle, bend the knee, open the lower back. Release the ankle, bend the knee, open the lower back, let the arms fall. Release the ankle, bend the knee, open the lower back, let the arms fall. So there should be a very smooth wave of lifting and falling. And you can pull the mind up, of course, in the lifting, mind down in the releasing and aligning. This is the very first stages of learning to move the intention through the body. Of course, initially it's just awareness. You move the awareness through the body, but actually by moving the awareness, there's already an implied intention. So we pull up from the foot to the crown of the head and down to the opposite foot, up to the crown of the head, down to the opposite foot, up to the crown of the head, down to the opposite foot. Release the ankle, bend the knee, open the lower back. Release the ankle, bend the knee, open the lower back. Release the ankle, bend the knee, open the lower back. Let the arms fall away. The arms lifting and falling smoothly. And relax. So we'll just look at the second loosening exercise. So again with the feet together, you just find the same foot position. Feet together, spin on the heels of the feet, spin on the balls of the feet. Two handstands to the center line of the feet, outside edges of the feet parallel and forward. This is building your foundation, you might say, to build your house on. You don't want it on a rocky foundation. So from here, we pull up from the feet through to the crown of the head. Good in breath, let the arms lift, and then mind down. 1, 2, 3, 4 half arm swings. Pull up from the feet to the crown of the head. 2, 3, 4, and then down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pulling up for the 1, 2, 3, 4. Mind down, body's falling. 2, 3, 4. Keep going. So the center needs to move very smoothly up and down, just like this. So the center moves very smoothly. You press into the feet and pull up through to the crown of the head. And then from the crown of the head down through to the feet, let the center fall away as if it's falling into the feet, and it settles to the ground. So from the feet up through to the crown of the head, from the crown of the head down through to the feet. And when we overlay the arms on that, sometimes what happens is people do this, and that's not what's required. We need the body, the central body moving smoothly up and down for the 4 half arm swings of the arms. So it's like this, from the very top, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and from the bottom, if you like, pulling up 1, 2, 3, 4, down through to the feet, 1, 2, 3, 4, from the feet through to the crown of the head, 2, 3, 4. And again, we're wanting this lower back to change as we flow to the ground. So we want the spine to be lengthening effectively as the center falls away. So the 1, 2, 3, 4, then push into the feet, 2, 3, 4. Let the arms release once you've lifted them to shoulder height. They should release and fall away. So they feel very long, loose arms. So you lift them and let them fall. Keep going. And of course we can pull the mind up in the lifting, up through to the crown of the head. And the mind down in the sinking, releasing and aligning, down through to the feet. Pull up from the feet to the crown of the head. It's like pulling a line of liquid light up through the body, then letting it fall back through the body, flowing into the feet. Again, this is the very first stages of learning to move the mind through the body. We would call this the first timing, more or less. And relax. We'll do the third loosening exercise. Again, it's the same foot position. I'll just remind you. So spin on the heels of the feet, the balls of the feet. Here, there's a twisting wave through the body. So we want that twisting wave to come from the feet to the hips, and the arm comes out a long way forward and a long way back, and the waist twists between the long arms, you might say. So a big twisting wave, and the sitting back of the hip is of course a contracting muscle, and that pulls through the long front arm. And the sinking down and forward into the back leg, we'll say, is stretching through the long rear arm. So simultaneously, we're stretching through both arms, and a big twisting wave through the body. This is quite a complex exercise, there's no question about it, because of the simultaneous nature of things taking place. But give it a go, and try to get a really big twisting wave, smooth turning in the center as possible, and a big smooth twisting wave through the trunk. So this these waves of movement really massage the body, you know, the lymph nodes that are clustered in the armpits and the inguinal region, the qua, and the fluids that are in and around the spine. They all get pumped around by these waves of movement, whereas sitting on the sofa looking at your phone doesn't do much of that, I suppose. So these are really big waves of movement through the body. Again, with the twisting, of course, we don't want the knees to be collapsing in. So just watch that. You can imagine a balloon or something between the knees to keep the knees open a little. And when you push back through the hip, pull through the long arm, as if you're pulling the arm over something, and then the shoulder blade drops, then the elbow drops, then the wrist drops. So really, we need to try to release the muscles as much as possible. Release the muscles as much as possible. And relax. We'll do the fourth exercise. I've showed you the foot position and how you find it. So if you find the feet have twisted around a little bit, as they will do sometimes, just bring them back into position. So the fourth loosening exercise, from the feet, pull up through to the crown of the head. Really good in-breath. The out-breath, take the mind down to the feet again. Let the lower body fall away and the upper body flows onto the lower body. Shoulder blades dropping, elbows dropping, wrists dropping. Pull up through to the crown of the head, a really smooth wave of lifting. Good in-breath. Mind down, center down, spine lengthens, shoulder blades drop, elbows drop, wrists are dropping. Really good smooth wave of lifting. Pull up through to the crown of the head. Good in-breath. The out-breath, mind down, center down. And as we settle on this third one, we let the hands fall to about the height of the throat. And then push up from the feet, pull the mind up, push up from the feet. So the hands open like the leaves of a book. Imagine you're reading a book. And then the mind down, so the center falls away, the spine lengthens, shoulder blades dropping, elbows are dropping, hands get pulled together because of the shoulder blades dropping, as if you're praying, you might say. And then the shoulder blades continue to drop and the hands open, as if you're likely to catch a ball or something. And then keeping the spine aligned, bend the knees, touch the elbows to the knees, begin to straighten the legs and loosen the upper body. As much movement in the shoulders as you can manage. Just check the time. Bend the knees, push into the spine, concentrate in the lower back, and then vertebrae by vertebrae, align the spine, as if rolling up against a wall. So I just do the same exercise from the side. So really good in-breath. Mind down, center down, so the spine's lengthening. Shoulder blades drop, so the spine's compressing in fact. Front of the hips are opening as the hands fall away. Pull up through to the crown of the head, really good in-breath. Mind down, center down, spine lengthening. Shoulder blades dropping, elbows dropping, wrists dropping. Pull up from the feet to the crown of the head, good in-breath. Mind down, center down, shoulder blades dropping. Let the hands come to rest about the height of the throat. Pull up and away from the feet through to the hands, like reading a book. Mind down so the center falls away, shoulder blades are dropping like praying, and the hips open and the hands fill. Bend the knees, touch the elbows on the knees, begin to straighten the legs. Loosen the upper body as much as you can, as much movement in the shoulder girdle as you can. This takes the pressure off the spine. Unless you normally hang upside down, you don't normally get the chance to do this. So it's a really big movement in the shoulder girdle, in the shoulder blade, the scapula, and less movement in the hands really. We want more in the shoulders than in the hands. Whereas the wrong way to do it is a lot of movement in the hands and nothing in the shoulders. So do it the other way. Make sure there's much shoulder movement as you can. And then we bend the knees, press into the feet, concentrate in the lower back, and unfurling the spine in such a way as if rolling up against a wall, vertebrae by vertebrae, until finally the vertebrae at the back of the neck lift the chin from the chest. Okay, we do the fifth loosening exercise. So this one is a hugely complex exercise. We'll just touch into the nuts and bolts of it. So again, we find that foot position, excuse me, find that foot position, and we turn to the right, press out of the right foot, turn the left toes in, over and down to the back foot, and flow down and into the centre. So I've moved the front foot across a little bit, so it's about maybe one span, it's not a shoulder width, half shoulder width. And then I flow down and into the back foot, and flow down and forward, so the rear knee is bending, the lower back is opening, and the shoulder blades are dropping. And we settle to the front foot, and then push back from the front foot. So you're pushing the spine back through something. Mind down, center down to the lower back is opening, knees bending. As you flow down and forward, the knee keeps bending and the rear hip is opening, lower back is opening. So we want this straightening of the spine. And only now do we connect to the front foot. Push back through the spine, over and down to the back foot so the body's falling. Flow down and into the center so the rear knee and lower back are changing. And the shoulder blades drop at the last moments to really change the shape of the upper body. Then settle to the front foot, push back through the spine. Good in breath. You can take the mind down through the heel, under the ground, curving up into the distance, if you like. So this is setting a line of intention. You pull the mind back, up and over, mind down through the heel, under the ground, into the distance, curving up into the distance, like the half of the yin-yang symbol. Then you pull the mind back, settle to the front foot, sit a long way back with a slight lifting, over and down to the back foot with a falling, flow down and forward falling, lower back changing, shoulder blades drop, back of the neck aligns, settle to the front foot. We sit back on this one, breathe in and lift, concentrate in the back leg. Breathe out and sink, slide out on the front foot. Don't put any connection of the body into the front foot. Breathe in and lift, concentrating fully in the back leg. Breathe out and sink. Now place the heel of the right foot, turn the right toes in, press away from the left foot, then over and down to the back foot. You can adjust the left foot, flow down and into the center. Settle to the front foot, sense into the spine, push a long way back through the spine, over and down to the back foot, so the rear knee's bending, lower back is opening, shoulder blades drop to change the shape of the upper body. And only now do you settle to the front foot. Find that front foot connection. Push a long way back from the front foot, over and down to the back foot. Good in breath, out breath as you flow down and forward. Knees bending, lower back is opening, shoulder blades are dropping, rear hip is opening in fact. So I'm stretching down into the ground, but whilst moving forward. And I only now settle to the front foot. Pull the mind back and up, over and down to the back foot, under the heel, through the heel, under the ground, into the distance, curving up into the distance with the mind. Then pull the mind back, settle to the front foot, sit a long way back and up, over and down to the back foot, flow down and into the center, shoulder blades dropping so the shape of the upper body changes shape, and then settle to the front foot. Good in breath to sit back, out breath to flow down and into the back foot. Lower back is opening, shoulder blades are dropping, rear hip is opening. We settle to the front foot. We sit back on that. Breathe in and lift, concentrate in the back leg, breathe out and sink. Breathe in and lift, breathe out and sink. We draw the heels to the heels, and then, so that's it, the 5 loosening exercises. There's really a lot in those exercises. They're as good for new people as they are for people who've trained for a long time. I've trained for 27, 28 years or something. So I'm still finding things within those exercises. The thing that we're trying to do really, just check the time, the thing we're trying to do really is to learn to release the muscles. Sounds easy, but after a long life of emotional turmoil or mental stress or whatever, you can find that the body locks onto itself, and it's actually really quite difficult to let those things go. So really the loosening exercises are the mechanism, the method of putting the body back into a good state. So we begin to release the tensions, release the contractions, and let the body become back into a more natural state. So the ideal in the Tai Chi would be that we release into alignment. So when we talk of releasing, it's always within the context of aligning the body. So the body, when it's aligned, the structure of the body itself, when it's aligned, will allow the forces to flow efficiently through the body, and that will further enable you to release. So the intelligence of the body is such that if I'm out of alignment in some way, that the body's intelligence knows it, and it will just hold on to that misalignment and try to hold your shape to protect itself. But when if I'm misaligned, so when I align that more carefully and accurately, then the forces start to flow more efficiently. Then the muscles can release around that area. So it's an interesting thing. So you might say, I don't know about soldiers really, but you imagine the stereotypical thing is standing to attention, aligning the body. And that's with a certain degree of stiffness. But actually we would align the body by releasing it into an aligned position. So actually, rather than holding tight in some way, I'm not really sure if that's what soldiers do, but anyway, it's a good analogy, you might say. We're trying to release the muscles, but find the alignment so the forces travel efficiently through the body. Okay, so we'll just touch into the meditation. This is part of the nuts and bolts of the training, and we'll just do the what we call the microcosmic orbit. So we take from the base between the legs, the perineum, halfway between the anus and the genitals. We take the mind round to the sacrum, rising up through the spine, back of the neck, to the crown of the head, and then over the crown, from the crown of the head, over the front of the face, the throat, the chest, down through the abdomen, and to the base between the legs. We'll just do that one. This is, strictly speaking, not a meditation. Strictly speaking, it's an energy cultivation exercise. A very ancient Taoist one, in fact. So, we'll take a really good in-breath, fill the lungs. And on the out-breath, bring the awareness from the crown of the head down through the brain to close down through the chest and trunk, melting the chest and trunk. Listen for a pressure in the seat and spread the awareness out into the room. And then take another really good in-breath, fill the lungs. Draw the awareness to the crown of the head. The out-breath, take the awareness down through the brain, going to sleep inside yourself. Then down through the chest and trunk, melting the body. And if that genuinely happens, there'll be an increased pressure in the seat. Spread the awareness out into the room. And then beyond the room into the local streets. Just sensing out into the outer world. And then pull back from that, leaving it distant. Pull back to yourself to the lower dantian, this is the abdominal area. With a gentle in-breath, and on an out-breath, fall into that daydreaming mind, the daydreaming state. So in this mind state, the dreaming state, we're cut off from the outer world, we're cut off from the body, and in the dreaming mind, you could more or less go anywhere. Then we'll wake up again, another really good in-breath, fill the lungs. Awareness to the crown of the head. The out-breath, come down through the brain, closing down, going to sleep inside yourself, closing the superficial part down. Melting down through the chest and trunk. Find a pressure in the seats. Spread the awareness out into the room. Beyond the room, into the local environment, streets, whatever. And then pull the awareness back from that, leaving it a long way distant, fading into the background. Pull back into yourself. A gentle in-breath. And on the out-breath, allow an unfathomably deep space to open up within you. That represents your inner world. Fall into that space. Let go. Give up. Just allow yourself to fall into that space. And now we'll touch into the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet. Bring your awareness to the palms of the hands and soles of the feet. We're looking for the tingling, fullness, warmth. These are the pain sensors, temperature sensors, and pressure sensors. Spread the awareness around the hands and feet. Capture the sensations on the backs of the hands, the backs of the feet, individual fingers and toes, the heat field that exists beyond the limits of the skin. And then pull the awareness up through the ankles, up through the wrists, looking for warmth and fullness mainly. Pull up through the lower arms and legs, up towards the knees and elbows, capturing the sensations of warmth and fullness. Pull up through the upper arms and upper legs, looking for warmth and fullness. Up into the hips and the shoulders, and then simultaneously sense back through the forelimbs, filled with a thick, warm, pulsing liquid as they are, surrounded by a heat field. Then take something of that heat field from the shoulders up through the neck to surround the head. So the head now cloaked in a cloud of awareness. Pull it down from the head, pull it down through the chest and trunk, melting the body, down to the base between the legs, the perineum. And now we begin the microcosmic orbit. On a good in-breath, gathering a cloud of light at the base between the legs. So with a concentration at the base between the legs, from there we form the intention to lift and pull the mind like a stream of light, pulled round to the sacrum with some effort, pulled up through to the lower back, spine, up through, in and around the spine, between the shoulder blades, back of the neck, through the brain or over the crown of the head to the crown of the head. And on the out breath, flowing down the front center line, like a liquid light that flows down over the face, throat, chest, abdomen, pulls at the base. From there, pull strongly up again, round to the sacrum, with a really big effort, in such a way that the spine energizes as you pull the mind up through from the base, between the shoulder blades, back of the neck, up through to the crown of the head. In the out breath, let the light of light flow over the face, throat, chest. Forget the breathing. Over the abdomen, pull at the base. One more time from there, pull strongly round to the sacrum, pulling smoothly and strongly up through the spine in such a way that the spine energizes, up through to the crown of the head. And on the out breath, we let the line of light flow over the face, throat, chest. Forget the breathing, continue to flow down over the abdomen, pull at the base. And from there, we'll just let the cloud of light expand out around the body, out into the arm's length sphere. There's more to be said about these. There are different levels in the meditation, of course. And then we'll touch back into the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet. Look for the tingling fullness, warmth. Let that spread simultaneously through the whole body. So the body seems like a seething mass of sensations. Warmth, coolnesses, tinglings, fullnesses. Give yourself the suggestion to keep a connection to this deeper part of yourself that sits below the level of the ego, below the level of the personality structures. So give ourselves a suggestion to keep a connection to this deeper part and slowly allow the eyes to open. Okay, I've probably run over a little bit. I've tried to make it short and succinct, but there's a lot to say about these exercises, and but that's probably enough for the nuts and bolts. If you're looking at these and you've got any questions, drop me an email. Only people who've got the link can see the emails, so I prefer, if you want to pass this on to someone, that you introduce that person to me by email. And then I'll put them on the list and circulate the links to them, and then they've got a direct contact for asking questions if they have any. Okay, so thanks very much, and see you somewhere else on another video.